Good afternoon. Welcome to Changing Your Mind Ministries. This is our recap of our Sunday service. Right now, before we get started, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Hit the like button on your phone, hit the share button on your phone, and go ahead and share this page now. Share this right now. So we'll get right to it. We're going to be mindful of your time. So I'm here with Minister Angela Lipscomb, who just preached a great message, who just taught a great message. And so we're going to jump right into it. So the name of your message was A Broken Yes. A Broken Yes. You came from Matthew 14 and Matthew 26.
That's correct.
Something you said in the beginning that grabbed my attention. You said there's a difference between the wounds and the brokenness.
Right.
Can you explain that for our viewers a little bit?
Yeah. And I found that interesting even as I was doing my study, and it made so much sense to me. The wounds are the things that caused you pain, okay? Whatever that could be. It's no different than if you cut yourself. That's a wound, but those are wounded. And the brokenness is that place where those wounds now is needing to be healed.
Right.
So it's that place where Christ has to come in to heal those wounded areas. It's that redemptive place.
Absolutely. And so, why is it, going into your message, you said that right after you give God your yes, then the brokenness comes. Why not before?
Why? Because I think that, Minister Maya, what happens is we think when we give God the yes, because we've gone through so much, we think that's the place of brokenness, which is really the wounded place. So after giving God the yes, now he wants to know, my yes tell him I'm totally dependent on you. And that's the only time when he's able to show up in that place now to help us make sense of the wounds.
Absolutely. You did an awesome time explaining that in your message today. And you said through our brokenness, we serve, we show up anyway. We serve, we show up anyway. You said nothing in you will be wasted. There's a word in you before it was. You gave the example of the bread. Can you explain the example of the bread coming from the text as it relates to our brokenness?
Yeah. So in the text, when Jesus was feeding the 5,000, he took the bread and he blessed it, meaning that we taught here that that's the instructions. Telling, no doubt he spoke to the bread to tell the bread what the bread need to do. He talked and told it its purpose.
Right.
Okay. So then after that breaking of the bread, he gave it away. And just like we know about bread, there's crumbs.
Right.
There's crumbs in that. And ask that question again. Because I lost the question. I'm going to have to preach the whole message again.
You're going. Go right ahead. You're answering the question.
I'm sorry. So the breaking of the bread, and the breaking of the bread, the pieces, there were pieces that was left over.
Right.
Crumbs. We've seen it. Well, because he spoke to the whole, that word is now in every piece that's there. So there's nothing wasted about it. Right. That bread, if they had picked up, if we could visualize them picking up the crumbs and taking the crumbs, and I don't know if you guys have done it, you take bread and you make little bread balls.
Absolutely.
And you take them crumbs and you make little bread balls. Well, those crumbs came from that whole piece of bread, and it can still serve its purpose. So when we're broken, and he's already spoken to us to tell us what it is what our purpose are, what he needs us to do, then now in those broken places, it's already the whole us is now broken in many pieces. And those pieces are just pieces from the wholeness that can still be used.
Absolutely. And I think that was awesome about that is that sometimes in our brokenness, because of the state of our brokenness or because of the pain from the wounds, it's easy for us to kind of discount the value of those crumbs or the pieces, or to discount the value and the experience that we're going through.
Exactly.
And you went into even talking about some of the reasons for that, having to do it, the difference is a different kind of pain and having to do it in front of naysayers. But then you got to do it privately in front of friends and family. Can you touch on that a little bit for everybody?
Yeah. When I talked about going back to the 5,000, and it jumped out at me how Jesus told them to take a seat. He said, sit down on the grass, sit right there in front. And there was a breaking in front of them. That's that public humility breaking so that they can see. They showed up because, most of them show up because you got what they need. You know, some, it even talked about that in the scripture, they showed up because of what they heard. But still, in the midst of, and I think in the sermon I talked about Facebook following,
Right.
okay? So I have a Facebook following, and you know, there are times when people say, oh, you shouldn't post that, you shouldn't do this, but it's that people get a chance to see you go through, okay?
Right.
And then you have that private, I call it private, it was when Jesus was sitting there with his disciples, okay? And that private is just with those family and those few people. It's behind the door.
Right.
Okay, but yet there's still pain in it. Almost like, well, I guess Job was more of a public humiliation as well. But that's when it's that family and those family and friends with Jesus when he was with his disciples. That was his family and his friends, and they were behind the door. And yeah.
Absolutely. You said God, and I'm going over here so many good points. God don't need my gift, but he needs my brokenness. It's when we resist and being broken, we live out the thing that caused us to be wounded. I thought that was profound. When we resisted those wounds, that we live it out by default. Brokenness is the way to empathy and compassion. How important is empathy and compassion in our broken states?
Oh, wow. It is so important to where if we don't demonstrate, if we don't have that gift or have that, the person on the other end could not only lose themselves, but lose their life. And I shared this. I shared that when I went through a public, humiliating time of divorce, and it was said to me that divorce does not come from out of a Christian's mouth. Well, that was no empathy shown there, okay? Not sympathy meaning, oh, I feel so sorry for you, but empathy to say, I understand. Let me put myself in that place. Then I'm not so, then I'm careful about what I say, because that very statement, had it been said to someone else who may not have known, who have questioned their Christianity, could have easily gone one way or the other. So that's why empathy is so important. But a lot of times, if we have not gone through a thing, then we can't understand a thing. And that's why the Bible, you know, God tells us to, in all our ways, get understanding. So we got to get in the middle of a thing to get understanding of it.
Amen. Thank you for today. Thank you for today. You gonna be back Wednesday? Teach Bible study.
That's what they say.
So everybody join us this Wednesday at 7 p.m. We'll have Minister Angie Lipscomb to do extended teaching on her message today, A Broken Yes. Also, some exciting things coming up with Changing Your Mind Ministries. Right now, we're doing a 90-day challenge to get empty vessels. What do we mean by that? If someone has been on your mind, just one person who God has been placing on your mind, that he needs you not to necessarily start inviting them to church, not to beat them over the head with the Bible, but right now just start pouring what you're getting and pouring your life, your friendship, your love into them consistently and empathetically for the next 90 days, and trust God that he'll do the drawing, trust God that he'll make the change, and trust God he'll get to them. We're going to ask everybody who's watching and streaming to join us in that 90-day challenge. Also men, next Saturday, October 19th from 9 to 12 p.m., our men's ministry is having a men's leadership, a great teaching, an awesome time. Is called Leading While Bleeding. We all are called to lead as men, but we also bleed at the same time. So please come out, women, invite your husbands, your brothers, your boyfriends, your cousins, your uncles, any man, your co-workers, any man that you know to come join us. It will be here at Changing Your Mind Ministries from 9 to 12 on October 19th. We got so much else coming up, but please get plugged in. Please come see us, and we will see you on Wednesday. Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. Signing off.